Hey guys, it's your girl Carrie, and I am so excited to be collaborating with my favorite YouTubers once again on another Tablescape challenge. Melanie from the channel Living Luxuriously for Less contacted myself and a few other ladies to put together a budget-friendly tablescape for spring and or Easter. So today what I want to share with you is how I put together a decorated or put together my tablescape and an actual menu. Although I'm not going to be showing the food, I will show you the menu also so that you can get some ideas, and I'm going to do everything with a budget of $35. Yes, that's right, decor and food for $35. And the reason I'm going to be doing this is because when we did our last tablescape challenge, I got a lot of comments saying that they liked my table, it was really nice. But as I read my comments and some of the comments on the other ladies' channels, some people were thinking, yeah, I like this is nice, but I don't want to have to wait 10 years to collect things from thrift stores and all that to put together a nice table. I want to be able to go out and put something together right away. So this tablescape is going to be dedicated to those who really want to know how they can just get out there and put together something with what they already have. So without further ado, let's get started. And so today what I wanted to do was show you how I put together a beautiful tablescape using my everyday dishes and how I actually just incorporate a few spring items to pull together an entire table. And my tablescape is going to cost no more than $35 for the entire thing, and it's $35 to include the decor plus an actual breakfast. So I'm doing for $35 an entire decorated tablescape plus a menu. So let's get started. First, we're gonna go over here and look at our basics. I'm assuming when you put together a tablescape, everyone has basics. They have their everyday dishes or something of the sort. You have to have something in your house. So I'm going to go over here and show you my everyday items. I'm not pulling out anything fancy or anything like this. This is what I use on a day-to-day basis. So I'm going to assume that everyone has a pitcher. It may not be this pitcher, but some sort of vessel to, pour drinks, or when they're making their drinks, whether they're making tea or pour water. If you have just a plastic jug that you pour your water out of, you simply have a jug. And something like this pitcher will run you about $9, and you can pick it up from Home Goods or anywhere. You can get those from Ross, Home Goods, TJ Maxx. And here are some candlesticks that we use for everyday use, and I picked these up from the Goodwill, and they were $1 a piece. And then I'm assuming everyone has some sort of a salt and pepper shaker. This salt and pepper shaker, it is a spring themed one, but you could use any one that you have, and I picked this up last year for $2 on clearance out of Hobby Lobby. And then you use just your everyday utensils. So here are my everyday utensils for home. These are what we use on a regular basis, and I picked these up for $14.99 out of Ross. And so it's a service for 4, so it'll set a place setting for 4, and those are $14.99. And here's a riser. I think, as part of everyday decor, you should have some sort of riser. And the reason you want a riser is because it allows for elevation, to give that elevation and give height, and so your tables can look beautiful and pretty, and it gives it that interest. If you don't have a riser, that is fine. You can achieve the same look by just putting a box of some sort underneath your tablecloth to give that elevation. And this riser I actually got out of a thrift store, and it was $9. I'm assuming everyone has just a basic service napkin, a set of plain napkins. These are our everyday, no frills, plain napkin. And then here are our everyday dishes. This is just a plain little salad plate. It came in a set. It was a service for 4. It had a, dinner plate, a salad plate, bowl, and a mug, and it was for $14.99 out of Burlington. I've since broke some of the plates, so it's kind of mismatched, so we use the salad plates every day. And underneath here is just a basic white plate with a beading around it. And I picked these plates up, these everyday plates we've had for several years, and they're by Pottery Barn, I believe. Yes. And I picked these up out of the Goodwill. They were 4 for $1.91, so these were 50 cents a piece. I'm assuming everyone has just basic glassware, and if you watched my Dollar Tree Hot or Not, I showed you several glasses you could pick up from the Dollar Tree, these stemless wine glasses or anything of the sort. So I'm assuming you have some sort of drinking glass, and those can be picked up for $1 if you don't. I'm also going to make the assumption that you have a basic standard tablecloth. I've already covered my table and, set it with the tablecloth, but, I'm assuming you have a standard tablecloth of some sort. And this tablecloth, I actually usually buy pieces of fabric and make my own custom tablecloths because I like to switch them out. And the fabric was $4 to cover this table. And then another item would be a charger. So this is a beautiful distressed charger. It's in a light sunny, a light yellow with a little bit of distressing on it. And these I picked up from Hobby Lobby. They were $1.99, but I picked them up with a 40% off coupon. And I usually go in with my girls so that we can get several things at once for 40% off. So these will run you about $1.20, and I think they're very, very beautiful, and they are made of plastic, but they look, they don't look plasticky. Hobby Lobby also had this robin's egg blue color. I picked up the blue along with the yellow, and again, these were $1.20 each. And they also had a white color, so if you want to go and pick up the white distress color, you can also pick that up also. And I think these are very nice, very affordable, very economical. And again, I picked up all colors, 4 of each color, and it ran me right around, a little over $12 to get 12 chargers. In comparison to something like this charger, this one down here would be an investment piece. This is a charger that I absolutely love. I picked this up from Pier 1 a couple years back, and one of these wooden chargers will run you $14.95. And again, I think the chargers that I just showed from Hobby Lobby are just as nice as something like this. So you're not going to compromise style or, anything like that. So let's, move on. So I'm going to assume up front that we have all of the things that I just mentioned, and if you do not have any of these items, then you can pick those up slowly but surely. And everything here in our basic setup that I just described is about, for me, everything that I purchased here on this table was an investment of about $70. And again, this stuff I've had for years. This is our everyday stuff. Another quick tip is when you're buying your everyday pieces, you want to make sure that all of those pieces can last through the seasons, meaning you can use them in winter, spring, summer, and fall. Although these plates are a light colored yellow, I can use them in any season. It just depends on what I pair it with. In the winter or the fall months, I can pair this with, more of the fall colors, the oranges, the browns, and things like that. And in the summer, I can pair them with whites, bright colors. This is even though it's a yellow plate, it's a very neutral plate, and there's almost no color that will not go with this. And if you don't want to, venture out and have color, you can always go with your basic white dish. In addition, when I'm out shopping, I'm also thinking about how everything coordinates together. Everything doesn't have to match, but it coordinates. For example, this little riser here, it has a distressed looking feel to it. And I know that has a distressed brown in it. And I knew I already had candles at home that had this distressed brown on the off-white, and I also knew I already had off-white plates. So when I'm out shopping and thrifting, I'm always thinking about how everything coordinates together, along with my silverware, utensils, and napkins. Everything kind of goes together, and along with the chargers that have the distressing on them. So that's my tips for. Now let's take a look at what I purchased to make this table have the spring feel to it. Well, my first tip would be to purchase an investment piece. And what I mean by that is something that you're going to pull out for that season and use. It can be a centerpiece, it's going to be a showstopper or something like that. And also make sure that it's kind of neutral so that you can switch it up if you want to from season to season, so you don't have to do the same thing. And my investment piece is this bunny tureen. And I actually picked up this bunny tureen from the thrift store, a flea market, and I picked her up for $9 a couple of years back. So I've been using her for a couple of years now, and I think she's absolutely gorgeous. And these typically run, depending on where you're getting them from. If you're getting from Pottery Barn or Williams Sonoma, they can be very, very expensive. So I was happy to pick that up for $9. And again, although I didn't purchase this year, I just wanted to show you what I can bring in for spring for $20 to, you know, make my tablescape look really nice. So again, this was $9. And another tip that I want to share is that I would rather buy used quality than new cheap. And I think this is a very quality, you know, ceramic dish, and I am glad to have found it. Now down here are just some placemats. These are some velvet and linen bunny placemats that I had picked up off on clearance when it was off season last spring, and they were $4 for a set of 4 placemats. And that will be my second tip, is to always shop off season so that you can get the better quality items for a much better price. So $4 for 4 napkins, $9 for the bunny. And then down here I have these little bird cages that I had picked up from Michael's, and these are $1 a piece. So I have 4 bird cages, and so that's $4. And then down here I have this beautiful rustic wreath. And I've had this again for several years, and I'm just showing it so that you can see how I can incorporate $20 into a nice tablescape. And I picked this up off, you know, off clearance, off season, on clearance from Hobby Lobby, and it was 90% off, so I got it for $3. So originally this wreath runs about 30 bucks, but I got it for $3. So these are the 4 items that I am going to incorporate into my spring tablescape for $20. Okay, so I'm going to set everything up, and then you guys, you know, will see what I came up with. Okay guys, here is my final outcome of my tablescape, and my tablescape is a Easter/spring tablescape. I'm going to show you 2 different setups. I set up the plates differently, one for Easter, and once Easter is over, we will remove all of the bunny type stuff that's related to Easter, and I'll just show you how this can be quickly converted into a spring tablescape. So let's look at what we've done. First up, our fabulous centerpiece. I love the way this looks. What I ended up doing was taking our riser, putting the riser here, putting the wreath on top of the riser, and then sitting our soup tureen bunny on top of that, so that the bunny could be the showstopper centerpiece. And we'll be putting our, you know, different foods depending on what we're doing. If we're doing a breakfast, our home fries, or, you know, grits or anything will go in here in the bunny, and we can eat from there. So let me show you the first place setting. So here, this place setting here, I have the bunny placemat, and I have our cutlery. Again, this right here is not the everyday cutlery. I pulled out something a little bit more special so that, you know, on Easter morning on brunch we can actually, you know, use this, and we'll use it every day when I show you the other place setting. But, you know, I chose brown silverware because it mimics the rustic accents, the distressed accents on this charger plate. And then I put our little bird cage there and put in some little malt milk eggs with a little small nest. And then in our glass over here, I just tucked the napkin into our glass, and I just think this is a really cute, you know, setup. And here are our everyday dishes, just a plate, you know, and a salad plate, and you have yourself something really cute for not that much money. Okay, now over here I have our spring setup. So when Easter is gone, we're going to remove the placemat. So again, you see the bunny placemat is gone, the bird cage is gone, and I replaced that with a napkin. So we have our regular service napkin here that we showed in the beginning, our basic napkin, and I just wanted to show you some other ways that you can incorporate and build on that basic stuff. So what I did was to give this more flair, I added another napkin to this. This is kind of like a cross between linen and burlap. It's not quite burlap because it's not rough or hard, but it gives you that burlap feel. And then these cute little bird cage napkin rings. Picked these up from Style Mart some time ago for like $3.99, and I just thought these would add a nice little touch to that. And here's a little tip. If you go to someone's home and you see the napkins doubled up, usually they're going to have a regular everyday napkin on the inside and some sort of really nice napkin on the outer portion. What you do is you don't use the pretty looking napkin. It's kind of like when you go to the bathroom and you see the nice towels hanging up and then they have, you know, paper towels on the side for you to use. You're not really supposed to use it. So you would put this one away, you know, fold it up, put it to the side, and you would actually use the one underneath. So that's just a quick tip if you ever go to someone's home and you see that kind of setup. And then here is a cute little rustic butterfly, and I think this is very cute for spring. These were 50% off in Michael's, so these rang up for 50 cents, and I picked these up, and I think I'm going to add our names to it. I don't know, I haven't figured that out just yet because I don't know if I want to permanently have this, you know, changed, but I thought this was really cute. It's a little butterfly and it has a little distressed block at the bottom, so that was 50 cents. And then we just have our standard everyday glass there, and I just love the way this looks. And I, you know, use the yellow charger instead of the blue one here, so this will be our everyday setup, and here are our everyday silverware, and I just think that looks really, really nice. And I just wanted to get a close in of the other everyday setup because they had the butterfly and they also had a little birdie. So a little, you know, spring bird. I think that just screams spring, and I love the way it looks. And that's just a really cute, natural, rustic item, and it was just 50 cents. And finally, we have our picture here, and all I did was to embellish it. Very simple embellishment. Just took a little piece of yellow ribbon, tied it around that, and that'll just be great for our drinks. And I need to put the candles in the candlesticks, but that's basically it with the setup. And again, I only added pretty much $20 to get this whole look to my basic everyday, you know, dishes. Now on to the menu. So I have $15 left over out of my $35 budget to budget for food. Now breakfast is the most, you know, budget friendly meal that you can do when you're hosting. So we're going to have a breakfast. And so for our $15, our breakfast for four will consist of home fries, scrambled eggs, pancakes, bacon, seasonal fruit, and when I checked the grocery store, strawberries were on sale and cantaloupe, so we would probably have strawberries and cantaloupe, milk, water, and juice. And I think that would round out a very, very nice breakfast. Now in the back there is a little setup. It's partially complete. I will be showcasing this for the $5 Goodwill Challenge. So if you guys want to know how to put together a very inexpensive, you know, dessert bar or candy bar, just be on the lookout for my $5 Goodwill Challenge video. That should be posting, or I should, you know, upload sometime late, you know, Friday evening. And until next time, I am going to keep calm and carry on.